Hi there and welcome back. It's Jennifer McGuire. I am continuing my favorite crafty things series for 2015. My first day was on stamps and stamp care, so be sure to check that out if you haven't. And today I'm doing dies and die cutting essentials. So in this series, I have blog posts and videos talking about what products I really like this year and that I would recommend to others. Keep in mind, some of this is objective. A lot of it has to do with style and needs, but these are things that I have found I reach for often. Throughout this series, be sure to head over to my blog for other information and for discount codes and giveaways. Okay, so this video is pretty long because there's a lot of dies, but not as long as my video yesterday. I'm covering dies in this video, and I have a second video today that covers die cutting essentials like machines and such. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first category I'm going to call must-have dies. I couldn't really think of a good name for this, but these are dies that are either basic or unique, but the thing about them that's special is that they can be used with a variety of style of cards and be used in many ways, so you can get a lot of use out of them. I think it's always good to have a set of circle, rectangle, and square dies in your arsenal. But if you want something a little more unique, which I really am reaching for a lot right now, it's sets that have faux stitching or some kind of little enhancement to it. Here's a good example, memory box stitch circle layers. You can get the squares and rectangles too. Many companies have a variety of these kind of faux stitched circles, square, and rectangle dies. I like the memory box ones because notice that the stitching is really close to the cutting edge. So it doesn't interfere with any stamping that you want to do inside the circle. So the faux stitching is right up against the cutting edge. But any of the other brands, like from My Favorite Things, Simon Says Stamp, Little Inker, they all are just as good. So you can reach for any of those. Maybe you can look at which one offers the size circles you would want the most, but I'm reaching for this one quite often. Now notice that these die sets do the faux stitching on the inside edge of the circle. There are die sets available that do faux stitching on the outside edge of the circle also. So basically the die has the circle cutting, and then on the inside and outside of that, on both sides of that, is faux stitching. That's another option which I like also, and you can get those from Simon Says Stamp or Little Inker Designs. I just wanted to show you this one in the video because it's just the basic faux stitching that adds a little bit of interest to a plain shaped die. Another great option is from My Favorite Things. This is the cross-stitch dies. I think some other companies have these also. Comes in different shapes. I'm just showing the circle here. This does little X's, it pierces little X's around the inside edge of the cutting shape. I just think this is really unique, adds a lot of interest to it, and you can keep the card pretty simple. So this is just another option. I don't think you need all of these, but something that adds this little enhancement on the inside edge. This is the My Favorite Things double stitch. So this does two lines of that faux stitching on the inside of the cutting edge. Again, it's just a little more interest. You can maybe pick which one is something that you would use often. These die sets are an investment. They do cost a little bit more than other die sets, but it's something that you can use over and over again. So just think about what shapes you would be most interested in using, and then which enhancement you like the best. Okay, now this is new, coming from Lawn Fawn. I think it comes out next week, so you're going to have to bear with me. It hasn't been released yet, but she said I could go ahead and share it. This is a set of heart dies. You can see they're about the biggest one's about 3 3/4 inches tall and about 4 inches wide. So that's the biggest heart that's in the set. Now, there are a lot of great heart sets, and I think it's good to have a heart set of some sort. This new one, I really like each shape of each heart in the set. I think they're all shaped very well. They also are coming out with this set that only has 3 hearts in it, but they're all perfectly shaped hearts that do the faux stitching on the inside edge. So those are 2 options for heart sets. I know that my Memory Box and My Favorite Things also have heart sets if you wanted to check out different sizes. But I'm really happy with the shape of the hearts here. I'm picky with my heart shapes, and I really like those. So those are some of the basic die sets that I would recommend. Now for something a little bit different, we have the pierced dies from Avery Elle. These do not cut paper, so these don't cut shapes. They put pierced hole patterns into the paper. So there's the rectangle set and the circle set, and basically you run this through your die cut machine like you would a die, and it puts a series of tiny little piercings down that just adds a little bit of interest to a plain piece of cardstock. So you can do this and then do some stamping in the center and have a very simple card. Now you'll see that the rectangle set has a ton of different sizes, and what you can do is do them all at once, and you can have a background of a card that's entirely made up of those pierced rectangles. Now the rectangle set, the biggest one, is 4 by 5 1/4 basically, so it's perfect to go on the front of a note card, and you can see it goes all the way down to a small rectangle. Then there's also the Pierce circle set. I actually reach for this one the most because I like to add circle elements to my card. And again, you can put all of these down at once and have a bunch of concentric pierced circles on your card. You can also die cut a circle and then use these piercing dies with them. So you can get really creative with these. I just think they're so much fun and very unique. Another one from Avriel that's very unique is the burst die. Now this has a bunch of circles there. You see all those circle dies? So if you're looking for circle dies, there's some in here. You can just use snippers to cut those apart, and I'll talk about that in my next video. But it also has this burst die. It cuts a 4x4 piece, this square piece that you see here, and it has those cut lines that look like a burst coming out from the circle center. It's a great way to kind of create a focal point for your card. Just do some stamping in the center and put this on a 4¼ by 4¼ inch note card. And I will put a link here to a video where I show this die and those pierced dies in action. So it's really just a fun way to add a little bit of interest to a card, and that's why I call it a must-have die. Next up is the Lawn Fawn Stitched Borders set. There are a few companies that have stitched borders now, but I think this is the one that I reach for the most. I like the stitching options in this. Now you can use them separately just to create faux stitch lines along your project. So you see on the gray, I did the piercing. On the red, I did the little slash mark stitching. And then you can see in the background, I taped all those borders together and I cut them repeatedly to cover the background just to create some interest. I love these border dies. The price point on this border die set is really great, especially since there's so many uses for it. Okay, the My Favorite Things Stitched Basic Edge die is another great set. These cut some unique edge shapes for your cards or cardstock, and there is a faux stitch line on both sides of the cutting line, so it adds a little bit of interest also. I went ahead and used that one there to cut this example here, so you can see how you could add these pieces to the front of the card and just have some color peeking out from behind. You can position these border dies to cut in a variety of ways, so you can really get a lot of uses out of them. A new die set from Sunny Studio just completely knocked my socks off. This is a brilliant set. It's called Fishtail Banners. You'll see there are 4 dies in the set, so there's 4 different choices. And you can use these to create a banner edge, the little V edge, on any shape or on any size rectangle cardstock. So let me show you. It's hard to explain, but let me show you. Now look you see those little notches in the die? You can use those to help you center this perfectly on the edge of any rectangle piece. So here I just grabbed a white rectangle scrap, lining it up with those little notches that you see there, using some tape to hold it in place. Then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine as I would any die. This is going to create the perfect banner edge on this white rectangle piece. And also this one in particular pierces little holes, so you can see that nice finish edge there. Now you again could do this with any size piece of cardstock. So here's a smaller strip that I had, and I'm going to do a banner edge with the same die. Now these are 4¼ inches wide, I believe, so you can do it on the bottom of an entire note card if you wanted to. Again, there are 4 different styles here. You can use them in a variety of ways. So I think this is a brilliant set, and I like those little notches to help you center it. I think that's what they were meant for, but it works that way. So anyways, it's a brand new set. Now I also think it's important to have some mini dies in your collection. This way you can create your own tiny embellishments to scatter on your cards instead of having to buy a bunch of enameled dots or other kinds of accents. I've been using the Simon Says Stamp Mini Hearts, that die there, and the stars for a long time. In fact, they made my list last year as a favorite, and I had to include them again this year. So I keep a little bowl with a bunch of extras cut and ready to go. I also like the Memory Box Mini Heart Collection. That's this die here in the center, and you can see it cuts some outline hearts too. By the way, these dies I keep on a magnetic sheet inside of my cabinet door, so I don't have to go looking for them every time I need them. I use them so often. I also like this Hero Arts Sun Showers die because it cuts super tiny hearts that I can add to my card. Now there are other dies that come along with this one in this die set. One cuts tiny little stars, one cuts a cloud, and one cuts raindrops. So you can see it on the right there. It happens to match with the stamp set on the left, but I just use the little die cuts for accents on my cards all the time. So now we're on to word dies. Again, this is a personal preference based on what style of font you like and also what sentiment you reach for often. But I tried to pick a variety, so maybe there's something that you will like. First up is the Reverse Confetti Fancy Words. This is nice because there are a few different words in here, a few different sentiments, all in one die set. So it's got thanks, hello, XOXO, friend, and happy birthday. And I really like the font here, and the size is really good too. There aren't many word die sets out there, and I really think this is a great one. I'd watch Reverse Confetti. This is one of the companies that their die sets are getting so incredible. A lot to choose from. Next is Paper Smooches. This one cuts the word cherish and the word love, which I think are unique, especially the cherish. And you can team that word love up with a lot of stamp sentiments. And the really big bonus here that makes it awesome is there's 3 little heart dies that also come with it, and they're the perfect shape hearts. So they're good for scattering little embellishments on your card. So I actually have this set sitting out on that magnetic sheet to reach for often also. I put my favorite dies there so I don't have to dig them out all the time. Next, we have the Friend die from Mama Elephant. Now, they have different words like thanks and hello and such in the same feel, the same look. But I like Friend because you can use this on a lot of cards and then stamp like a small thinking of you or happy birthday underneath it. I like how dainty and detailed it is. It's beautiful, and you can just create a card and then stick this on top when you're done. Another great one in a completely different style is from Winnie and Walter. I like this Hugs because it's bold. You can do stamping on this and there's room to add to it or really keep it the focal point of your card. Now they have a bunch of different words. They have hello and thanks and Mary and all different kinds of words. I think the Hugs is really fun, but be sure to check out the other ones they have. They even have a giant hi in that same font. Something a little more unique is from Waffle Flower, the With Love. I don't know, there's something sweet about this. I like that it's kind of staggered a bit, and you can even cut the word with off and just use the word love by itself. And for some reason, I'm using this one a lot. I just think it works for a variety of occasions. Now, I really like tiny, dainty die-cut words because I think they look so classy. And you can create your card and stick these on top anywhere you want. I have 2 favorite, like thin-lined small ones that I reach for often. One is You're Amazing because, again, it can be used for a variety of themes. The other is the Praying for You. And actually, my friend borrowed this, so I don't have it. It's about the same size as the other one. And I think it's great, again, for lots of occasions. So it's one that you can invest in and use over and over again. But again, look for whatever sentiments fit your needs. And this one is the Simon Says Stamps Praying for You. So 2 sentiments that I reach for a lot are something that says blessed or blessings and hugs. I use those quite often. So I was really excited about the Simon Says Stamp Blessed die. Now, I like that word, but I also love the style of this. And I'm hoping that Christina does more like this, hint, 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 because I think it's just beautiful. So that's another one I recommend. Now, I included this Hero Arts Hello stamp and die on my recommended stamps yesterday, but I thought it would be good to include here because that Hello die is great to use on its own, or you can team it up with the stamp set. I think it's the perfect Hello die cut. Another great Hello die is this one from Clearly Besotted. It's unique. It actually cuts a window with the word hello floating on it. So it's perfect for shaker cards. She has some other shapes with other sentiments, but I think this hello one is great for lots of uses. And this is an example my friend Lucy Abrams did. She's the creator of this. It's sold by Clearly Besotted. Check out how cute that is with this little shaker card. Just adorable and a great way to create a window on a card. Okay, now on to other dies. There were so many to choose from. I had a hard time picking, but I picked a few favorites here. This one is the Waffle Flower Mini Trifold Note. I use this in a video, which I will link here, but basically it folds up to look like a mini envelope. And when you open it, it unfolds and you can have this long piece of paper where you can write a little message to the person. There are little dies in there to create little tabs to tuck in there to keep the envelope closed. However, I think it's fun to tie a little ribbon or string around it, and that's what I show in the video. Just something fun and unique, and you can use these on cards or just create a little handful of these to give to someone. Waffle Flower has a lot of great, well thought out, well engineered dies. Another company that's definitely worth keeping your eye on for dies, especially, I love their dies, is Little Inker. This is the quilted stitched swirl background. This basically just does the stitching background, and they have a few different patterns, and I think it's great. It's a great way to add some texture and interest to the background of a card. Now, Reverse Confetti has the layered snowflake die. I tried not to do like occasion or holiday kind of things, but this is just too good to not share. This is the layered snowflake die, and it cuts all these pieces that you can layer together in a variety of ways. You can do this out of paper, felt, anything you want. Just a lot of great uses from it. And I have a video where I show this in action, and I will link to that here, but you can see it used on this felt. I just think it's beautiful and a well thought out die set. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Simon Says Stamp Stacked Hearts die that was released today is my current favorite die. Of all the dies, this is my favorite right now. I think it is beautiful how detailed and dainty it is. Now you can keep it one piece and put it in the center of a card or kind of off to the side on a card for an interesting background. You can emboss it on the front of the card, which I'm going to show you in my second video today. You could cut little hearts off of it and use them individually if you want. You could even cut a row of hearts to create a border if you wanted to. Now remember, this cuts a bunch of those little hearts from the inside too. So there are all these tiny little hearts that you can scatter on cards too. They're just the perfect hearts, and I just think it's beautiful. Great for background for any kind of card. Another super detailed die that I really had to include on my favorites list is the Waffle Flower Doily Circle die. It's just so detailed and beautiful. You can die cut it and add it to a card, or in the example video, which I'll link to here, I show how you can emboss with the die just to create some great detailed texture. Next up is a really unique die from Poppy Stamps, which is the folks over at Memory Box. It's a house border die, so it actually just cuts a line on the bottom. So you can cut this along the edge of any cardstock or note card edge, and I'll be using this in a video very soon. I've had this card in mind for a while. I love these houses because they're big, and look at the little doors score so you can open them. So you can make all these little doors open if you want. You could decorate them for the holidays or put sunshine and flowers to make it something for the spring. You can also cut the individual houses off and just use them separately on different cards. Now, this is a pretty big border die. There is a smaller version too. So if you were looking for something smaller, you can check this one out also. Another from Memory Box is the Parade Banners. Now in this set you have two dies that cut really detailed banners that you can hang across a card with faux stitching on the inside. There are also some hearts in here, some tiny ones, and they have some of them have faux stitching also. There's also the stars and then this kind of ribbon with the faux stitching. Just some great elements that you can add to a variety of cards. And check out how detailed that banner die is. You could stamp little letters on there or add fun little elements to it also. Now there are a lot of balloon die sets out there, but the one that I find is the best is the Lawn Fawn Party Balloons. The reason I like it is there are a lot of dies in the set in different sizes and in different shapes, and it also includes the strings that kind of swirl down from the balloons. So if you're looking for a good balloon set, this is a good one to check out. Another type of die set that there are a lot of out there is cloud borders. I really like the Lawn Fawn Fluffy Cloud Borders because there are 3 different sizes. One does small clouds, one does medium, and one does large. And there's faux stitching on one side of the cutting edge. And you can actually use them upside down for waves also. So here is one of the borders cut. This is the medium, and you can see what it looks like. I just think it's a beautiful detail, and I really like the sizing of the fluffiness of the clouds. Is that what you call it? Anyways, okay, so now my favorite thing's interactive windows. Now this looks like a set of square dies. I don't use square dies all that often because I can cut them with my trimmer, but these are actually interactive windows. So it cuts 3 sides and scores the 4th. So you can create little doors or windows that open on the front of the cards. This would be fun because you could put a little critter inside with a surprise message, just something super sweet. And it's so much easier to use a die to do this than to cut this on your own. So I'll be using these in future videos. Okay, so there we have it. My favorite dies of the year. I'm sorry again, it's long. I promise they'll get shorter. If you are interested in the products, there are links below my YouTube description, but please go to my blog for more sources and discount codes and giveaways of some of these products. Also be sure to check out my second video for today, which is about die cutting essentials, so some tools that are very helpful. And just a quick friendly reminder to have patience with the stores and companies. A lot of the manufacturers and stores are out of stock on some of these products. That's because there were huge sales last week over Thanksgiving. So please know that they are all reordering and trying to get things back in stock as soon as they can, and they will be available again soon. Again, I hope this video was helpful to you in getting a closer look at these dies. Be sure to head over to my blog by clicking on the top left here for those discount codes and giveaways and more sources. In the middle are 3 other things that might be helpful. On the left is the hub for all my favorite crafty things for this year. In the middle are my favorite stamps for the year, and that's a video. And then on the right is the video showing my favorite dies from last year, and a lot of those are still available. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with more for this series.